Hiya folks, and welcome back to an episode day. So, you know, continuing on with our discussion from yesterday, I wanted to talk about today, because today also has patterns that are recognizable of a time past when I had a similar incident. This is similar to the time that I had something happen with Puppy. Around the time that I went and lived with my parents because I was freaking out too much, and Puppy helped me get better. So that is that my thoughts in my spare time when I'm not talking with people or focused on something are often preoccupied constantly with thoughts of anxious thoughts or thoughts of self-examination, constantly searching my body for things that are wrong so that I can I guess validate the anxiety that I'm feeling, which is generalized anxiety in a nutshell. Anxiety exists, so you need to find a reason for it to exist. But I've done my form of therapy was cognitive behavioral therapy, which one of the main aspects of that therapy is that to teach you to catch your thoughts, which means that when you're having a negative thought, like, oh, my heart is beating too fast, you catch that thought, oh, my heart is beating too fast, and you examine it and you oppose it. So, oh, my heart is beating too fast. No, it's not. You're in the middle of exercise, right? So that's kind of what catching thoughts is. But just like the last time I had a episode like this, when I was when I went back to live with my parents for a year-ish, the days after the prevailing incident, so like there was a lot of work on getting my thoughts away from anxiety in the first place. So part of what begets anxiety is thoughts of anxiety. But if you're thinking about anxiety all day, then you're encouraging anxiety to affect you, both symptomatically and mentally. So it's about trying to get off that hook, and trying to break that cycle, and trying to get your thoughts back onto more interesting things so that your days aren't just filled with constantly examining your own situation, or in my case, using my thoughts to examine how I feel, and how those feelings are affecting me. For example, before I started this recording, I was my leg twitched, and I've been experiencing a few twitches in my legs and in my arms ever since the sleep deprivation episode, and I've also been occasionally stuttering my words. But rather than just letting those things pass, because I should just let those things pass, right? In a normal situation with somebody who doesn't have an anxiety condition, they would let those things pass as unimportant or not something to be concerned about, because they've only been happening for 48 hours following something quite harrowing, right? But me, a quite anxious person with a high anxiety, general anxiety disorder, something like a leg twitch or arm twitch happens and I fixate on it, or I stutter in my speech and I fixate on that, and I'm like, why am I stuttering so much? Is there something neurologically wrong with me? Right? That's catastrophizing. It's another thing that they, these are all terms that they use in psychology. Catastrophizing. It's also a word we use in general conversation, but somebody who catastrophizes in a psychological sense is somebody like me who fixates on something that happened, like I stutter a word or my leg twitches, and I jump to the worst possible conclusion before anything else. Like, oh my god, I have a brain tumor, or oh my god, I've damaged my brain with the lack of sleep, or something like that, right? Or oh my god, am I going to be stuttering for the rest of my life? Or oh my god, am I going to be twitching for the rest of my life? All those kind of catastrophic thoughts, without going to the most reasonable answer, which is you had 48 hours in which you weren't sleeping, you were tired, you were feeling incredibly nauseous, you were panicking non-stop for those 48 hours. And you're in your recovery period right now in which your anxiety is still peak. Because my anxiety is still peak, right? Because I'm constantly fixating and so on. The most reasonable answer for all of this is you're experiencing nervous tics, right? Which is a neurological thing. So my brain is on the right path to figuring out what it is. It's just jumping too far ahead. But nervous tics, so muscle spasms, because the nervous energy in my body is making me stutter, you know, or my arm to twitch, or my muscle in my thigh to quickly ping off. But yeah, that's my experience today. However, it's not all bad news. I had a lot of fun today. A friend came over. And I don't own a Switch. I'm not rich enough for that. And they brought theirs, and they have Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And I love the Smash series, but I've never, ever, ever had a console that has had Smash on it. I've just had friends in my friend circle all my life who have played Smash, and particularly this friend. And I spent a lot of time with this friend when they had Super Smash Bros. Wii. So that's Brawl, I believe. And spent a lot of time and played a lot of Super Smash Bros. So I spent more time at their place than I did mine, playing Super Smash. But I really enjoy Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Like, I enjoy it just as much as I thought I would enjoy it. And all my old roster is there. My old roster is from the top of my best to my worst. Zelda, Dedede, Sonic, Lucario. Except in... Now that I've had so much time away from it, because I didn't get to play Super Smash Bros. Wii U, because I've had so much time away from it, Dedede is now my top. Zelda's at my bottom because she's really hard to play. If you're not still used to the things, because I'm still at the point getting used to the controls again, where I'm pressing B when I'm meant to be pressing A, or I'm panicking when I'm falling off an edge, and I'm spamming A or X when I should be spamming B and up, you know? Because I haven't gotten to that flow yet. But once I get there, then Zelda will be amazing, because tally fragging is awesome, and everybody underappreciates her A moves. Her B moves are great, but her A moves are really, really strong. Like, they have a lot of power in them. So, like, even her smashes can, you know, deal quite a lot of damage to heavy characters, or deal quite a lot of force to heavy characters. So everybody underappreciates Zelda, but I don't. I don't even really like the Zelda games that much, to be honest, but I really like Zelda in the Smash series. In Wii, she used to be combined with Sheik, but they're now separated. I think they were separated in Wii U. Someone will have to tell me. But Down B used to swap between Sheik and Zelda, but I just used to play Zelda and didn't bother swapping to Sheik at all. But now my best is Dedede, and I'm quite proud of how I did today, considering this is the first time I've picked up the Switch, and it's the first time I've picked up Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and it's the first time I've picked up Smash in that period of time since the Wii to the Switch, and I managed to beat Classic Mode with Dedede at 8.0. So you have like this difficulty meter, and the difficulty meter rises depending on how well you do, and the better you do in a stage, the more it rises per stage. So if you do really like the best you possibly can on one stage, then it'll raise by an entire point. But if you win but only barely, you'll get only 0.1 of a difficulty point, right? So if you started on 5 and you did really badly, you would get 5.1 if you still beat the level. If you lose the level, you can lose difficulty rating. But anyway, now that you know how that works, if you've never seen it, I managed to get King Dedede to threat level 8. Is it threat? I can't remember. No, it's intensity. I think it's intensity. So I'm quite proud of that because of how long I have not played this game. But Dedede is much the same. You can't summon any Lakitu now. It's only the Spinies that he can summon. I can't remember what they're called actually. Are they Spinies? King Dedede side B. Oh good God, that opened a wiki page. There's something a little more concise than that. Ground attacks. Oh, those are attacks. Okay, never mind. Special moves. Here we go. Inhale. Gordo. Okay. Yeah. So, if I remember right, in the Wii version, you used to throw Lakitu, which are like mini DDDs, or you occasionally threw the Gordo. Now you only throw Gordo. I can't even remember why it was important to me mentioning this. But because I find Dedede is best played as a attack character rather than a specials character. He's got good specials, like he can suck people up and throw them as a projectile at others. It's also good for killing people off a ledge, because you can jump after them, suck them in, and throw them further off the ledge than they can get to. But you have to be really skilled for that, because Dedede's recovery is quite unforgiving if you screw it up. He gets quite a lot of height off his up B, but if you don't cancel it and at the right time and then get to your destination with normal jumps, then you could go plummeting to your death. So that kind of maneuver is not for newbies, and I couldn't pull it off at this stage. I'd have to get a lot more practice again. But yeah, his smash gets off so easily that you can almost rely on it as a basic attack. His normal side smash, as well as his up smash. Both of those come out quickly enough that they can be used almost as a reliable attack. Plus his normal attacks are really frustrating for others to get to because he has massive reach, and he's quite maneuverable for a heavy character. So that's why I like Dedede. I also like Dedede because he is an amazing villain from the Kirby series, and I love the Kirby series. So yeah, I like Smash. And I think that's where I'll leave today's video. Oh, we unlocked a whole lot of characters, and I unlocked my friend's favourite character while they were briefly out for them. So I unlocked Wario. Wario is awesome. and I appreciate that my friend mains Wario. Wario honestly is underappreciated in terms of Tawny. Oh, and there is one last thing I'll say. I freaking hate tournament rules. I hate this. Single platform, or single platform with 3 aerial platforms. No items. BS. It's boring. Part of the fun, to me, of Super Smash is how adaptable you have to be. And that includes being adaptable in the face of adversity, because one of the things about items and levels is it causes situations where you are indeed the underdog, right? And there's no bones about it. At that point in time, you are the underdog. You are the most likely to lose in a trade-off, because the other player has a smash orb, or they're in a really good part of the map where they're able to deny you, yada yada yada. But I find the adaptability in those situations is a skill on its own, and that is the part that I find the most fun about Super Smash Bros. Whereas this whole thing with the flat arenas that don't move, nothing happens on them, or where they've got the 3 platforms, they don't move, nothing happens on them, and there's no items and it's just 2 of you, it's just boring because it comes down to the strength of the character alone, as well as the player's skill. So it's no longer a 3-prong factor, right? It's a 2-prong factor. And the more dimensional you can make that fight, the better, if you ask me. And in fact, back in the Wii days and earlier, you used to be laughed at if you enjoyed what we called Final Destination no items, because it would be considered really scummy, or like people taking the game way too seriously, because they wanted like a whole tournament system of cash prizes and so on, and in order to achieve that, they thought the best way to achieve that is to make the game rules as flat as possible. But to me, and since the arrival of Ultimate, that sentiment seems to have flipped, and now people who play with items on dynamic maps, or maps that are asymmetric, are considered the fools. And I'm sad about that. We didn't need to be mean to the Final Destination no items people, but we did, but it would have been nice if it didn't end up going in the other direction, and now no one gets to play with items and stuff when playing tournament mode. So anyway, thank you all for listening, and I'll catch you up tomorrow, maybe hopefully with some gameplay for once. But as long as I'm recording each day, right? Love you guys. Bye.